Welcome back to NewsWire here on SportsGrid. Great to catch up with Rob Donaldson ahead of tonight's Major League Baseball slate. Not a full one, but certainly enough games to chew on that we can have some opinions on. Rob, thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it, as always. Thanks for checking in. All right, let's get started here. We got Guardians and Angels tonight. Boy, get out of the way of the Guardians playing good baseball again. Minus 168 tonight on the money line. Cantillo will start for the Guardians. The Angels are just picking up the pieces at this point. I mean, I saw Jose Urena starting tomorrow night. I mean, they're already down to those kind of pitchers at this stage of the season. We're only in May, Rob, but that's where we are.
Yeah, that's kind of, typical Angels at this point, right? They have a very interesting organization in terms of they seem to always have some pieces that give you some hope for optimism. Jose Soriano, Mike Trout is healthy. It kind of felt like all of a sudden, you know what? They're just a little bit away from maybe being in that competitive middle ground space until they plummet all the way to the bottom and they're already 11 games back in the AL. So that's kind of where we're at with the Angels. And unfortunately, kind of to your point, I don't even know at this point if they even know who's going to be taking the bump half the time for them. And against the Guardians, a team that can kind of win those low scoring battles, I do tend to think that the Guardians are going to have that definitive edge here tonight.
Okay, fair enough. Minus 160. That's, you got to chase some juice there on that game. Okay, so tonight, Yankees start a new series with their fans freaking out against the Baltimore Orioles. Those fans have been freaking out all season, though. Brandon Young pitches for Baltimore, Rob. I saw him in person last time out. He gave up 3 runs in the first inning, and then he was great the rest of the game. So I'm not really sure what to expect tonight. Weathers has been up. He's been down. He's another one that's tough to predict. You see that total there of 9. Odds makers are telling us, yeah, we don't know either. Do you have any lean on tonight's game?
Yeah, I actually do like the Orioles to kind of get off the snide here. They haven't been playing good ball, and part of it is they got swept by the Yanks last time they were in this series just a week ago, or a week and a half ago, rather. And I think when you're talking about kind of that redemption arc, and also to your point, the Yankees are coming off of a walk-off loss. They didn't play well in Milwaukee. Now they're kind of traveling out to Baltimore, bouncing around on that kind of that short turnaround when you just finished a series on Sunday. You have that travel spot on Monday. And this is kind of why I've liked betting on Mondays over the past few years is, you can kind of pick these little interesting travel spots. Well, the Orioles tonight, to your point, Brandon Young's on the bump. They're not going to be getting the best price in terms of, a favorite side, but that leaves a lot of to be desired in terms of the plus money they can get through the first 5 frames, the full game. And that's where I found myself betting on the Orioles tonight through the first 5. Got plus
Gotcha.
134. I think that's a really solid bet.
Tampa Bay is in Toronto, and the Rays are still getting plus money, Rob. It's kind of incredible here. No matter how good they are, everyone expects the shoe to drop on them, but it doesn't. Drew Rasmussen is like a top 10 Cy Young Award candidate right now in the American League. He's been fantastic, but Gausman's on the other end. We know he's good too. Total of 7.5. Do the Rays go into Toronto and beat up on them too, or is now the tide going to turn on them a little bit this week?
I think the Rays are still going to be a competitive bunch throughout the rest of the year. They have a lot of really quality players despite getting that small ball sort of branding on them. But I do think that when you look at the Blue Jays, for example, if you're looking for a team that can really boom here in the month of May, it's a team that just added Addison Barger back to the lineup. And he already had a put out in right field. He's already contributed offensively. They have a lot of guys in the middle who are struggling early on that are hitting the ball extremely well. And now, to your point, they have Kevin Gausman on the bump tonight. I feel like it's a perfect sort of tide of almost kind of, begging for negative regression when you're talking about the Rays, begging for some positive regression with the Blue Jays. I like the Blue Jays on the money line here tonight.
Okay, fair enough. All right, 2 teams that are having their own struggles here, Diamondbacks and Texas Rangers. Tonight, Nathan Eovaldi pitches for Texas. He's clearly their best guy. Arizona has Michael Soroka on the mound. The Rangers may be the more disappointing team, potentially, of the 2 thus far. But, hard to score runs. Arizona's been struggling offensively. Texas has been making their mistakes in the infield and the outfield. So this is a tough one for me to call. Maybe not a lot of runs tonight. Maybe that's what I would see here. I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it with the D-backs, where they're kind of hovering in a decentish type of spot around 500, but they haven't been really looking that great on offense, and they're coming off of a series where they were kind of battle tested through a lot of like late inning thrillers, and it was just kind of an odd series, kind of a forgettable one. And so I think when you're talking about this game too, it's more so on the Rangers focus for me because to your point, they've been in the doldrums. Their offense has been terrible, but the pitching has been fantastic. And now they're coming off a 2-game win streak here. They're back at home, continuing this homestand here on Monday. The Diamondbacks are the team that are traveling in. I feel like this is another shot to take a chance with the Rangers
Agreed.
to see if they can stay hot. And I do like them on the money line here.
Okay, let's take care of a matchup that we thought would be maybe a first place matchup in May. It hasn't been the case at all. And by the way, Seattle not doing themselves any favors either. They are favored tonight, but the Astros are in big trouble, as you know, Rob. Certainly played better over the weekend, and Lambert's been like okay for them, but it's kind of put up or shut up time for Seattle pretty soon here, Rob. I mean, they're going to be in it through the end, but you're starting to hear whispers of Dan Wilson and everything else. Where's the offense? Boy, it's surprising to say the least that these two teams, if you combine their records, are just very far under 500.
Yeah, and for Seattle, they're one of the 4 teams in the AL that have a plus run differential, but it has nothing to do with the offense. It's everything to do with that rotation, that bullpen. Those guys are showing up every single night, seemingly, and the Astros, despite having some big names in the mix there, they're not scoring on a consistent basis, and their bullpen has been an absolute disaster. So I feel like if you look at the Mariners here and kind of the vacuum, can they get up against a bad pitching team and still hold pat on the pitching side of things for themselves? I tend to think you're looking at a series win here for Seattle, a really good chance to pull off a sweep. And I also think in this particular game, you take that first 5 and that full game run line with Seattle and feel pretty comfortable about it as well.
All right, so there you go. Rob's plays of the day. As he mentioned, he likes Baltimore in the first 5. He'll take the Blue Jays, and he'll also take the Texas Rangers tonight. Rob, appreciate all the time. Thanks for coming on the show. We'll catch up again next week. Thanks again.
Sounds good, Craig. Enjoy the rest of your show.